In front of his family, he threw my suitcase down the stairs. "Get out. You were always a burden," he spat. I left, holding back tears. 3 months later, his mother rang my doorbell, begging. He was broke. Turns out I owned the deed. That house. Never his. And I just sold it. "Get out. You were always a burden," Nathaniel spat, his words cutting through me like shards of glass. I watched in horror as my suitcase tumbled down the wooden staircase, clothes spilling across the foyer like scattered memories. His mother Ava stood behind him, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk playing at the corners of her thin lips. The rest of his family, gathered for their weekly Sunday brunch, simply watched in silence as if my humiliation was just another course in their meal. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That devastating moment came later. My story begins with another kind of loss. Before I share how my life changed forever that Sunday morning, I want to thank you for joining me today. If you enjoy stories about finding strength when others underestimate you, consider subscribing. It's free and connects you with others who understand that sometimes the quietest revenge is the most satisfying. Now let me show you how I turned being thrown out of a house into the most empowering moment of my life. 3 months earlier, I stood in my childhood home, surrounded by cardboard boxes and the lingering scent of my mother's favorite lavender candles. The silence was deafening. Just 2 weeks ago, both my parents had been killed in a head-on collision with a drunk driver on Route 16. Now I was alone, sorting through their belongings, each item a painful reminder of what I'd lost. I picked up the framed photo from their wedding day. My father looking dapper in his rented tux, my mother radiant in her simple white dress. They weren't wealthy people. Dad worked 40 years at the local factory and Mom cleaned houses for families across town. They'd saved every penny to put me through nursing school, proud that I'd be the first in our family with a college degree. "Violet." I brought some more boxes from the garage. Nathaniel's voice pulled me from my thoughts. He'd been my rock these past 2 weeks, handling funeral arrangements, dealing with insurance companies, bringing me food when I forgot to eat. "Thanks," I managed, wiping tears with the back of my hand. I didn't realize they had so much stuff. Nathaniel wrapped his arms around me from behind, his chin resting on my shoulder. "You don't have to do this all at once, you know. The estate agent said we have until the end of the month." The estate agent. Another reminder that I needed to sell my childhood home to cover my parents' modest debts and funeral expenses. There wouldn't be much left afterward. "What am I going to do, Nate?" I whispered, leaning into his embrace. "Where am I going to go?" His response came without hesitation. "You'll move in with me, of course. With us. Mom's been wanting to meet you properly anyway." I'd only met Ava Prescott once, briefly at a restaurant. She'd seemed reserved. But Nathaniel spoke so highly of her and I was desperate for connection, for family. "Are you sure she won't mind?" I asked. Nathaniel turned me around, cupping my face. "It's my house too, Violet. I inherited it from my grandfather. And I want you there." 2 days later, I pulled into the driveway of the Prescott family home, a well-maintained colonial in a respectable neighborhood. Nathaniel carried my suitcases while I clutched a box containing the few keepsakes I couldn't bear to part with. Ava greeted us at the door, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "Violet dear, what a difficult time for you." Her hug was brief, perfunctory. "Nathaniel, show her to the guest room, would you?" "Guest room?" Nathaniel frowned. "Mom, I told you Violet would be staying in my room." "Unmarried, under my roof?" Ava's eyebrows rose. "I don't think so. What would Pastor Richard say?" I felt my cheeks burn. "The guest room is fine, really." That night, as I unpacked my meager belongings, Ava appeared in the doorway. "Nathaniel says you're a nurse?" "Yes," I replied, hanging up my uniform. "I work at Mercy General." She glanced around the room. "Well, I suppose that's better than nothing. Though I always hoped Nathaniel would find someone who could stay home like I did. Family should come first, don't you think?" Before I could respond, she added, "Breakfast is at 7 sharp. I don't keep food out all day." The first few weeks in the Prescott home were a blur of grief and adjustment. Nathaniel left for work early. He managed commercial properties for a local real estate developer, and returned late. I worked 12-hour shifts at the hospital, trying to lose myself in caring for others when I could barely care for myself. Gradually, I began to notice changes in Nathaniel.